It's time once again for the zany hijinks of Dennis the Duginist Menace. Today's episode, throwing stones from glass houses. Recently, Dennis the Duginist Menace got upset at Riley Gaines for some stupid reason and proceeded to accuse her of being a culture warmonger. Hey Dennis, if you're going to call out people for being culture warmongers, don't inflame the culture war.
And I started seeing things like Leah Thomas competing at the NCAAs and the women's division. It was like, oh wow, this is really becoming a mainstream here, where a lot of this ideology is being pushed out of NGOs and think tanks funded by pharmaceutical and healthcare companies who make upwards of $100,000 per transition surgery, and it's being enforced through the education system.
I'm not going to get too much into why those talking points are bullshit since I already delved into that in one of my past videos, but platforming reactionary, fallacious propaganda about a demographic that tends to be the most radical is not going to advance the class struggle any further. In fact, it'll only get petty bourgeoisie goblins on board who will only steer it toward other nefarious ends. Grifters who crash out in perpetuity about so-called gender ideologies such as J.K. Rowling, Colin Wright, James Lindsay, Konstantin Kisin, and Riley Gaines are not revolutionary socialist figures but jackasses that only serve to preserve the capitalist order and stymie any progress toward mass class consciousness. Echoing their bullshit talking points about socio-cultural issues will set the socialist movement back. Dennis the Duginist Menace should take advice from his so-called chairman.
Here's our view on the so-called culture war. Our party is not interested in prescribing any kind of culture. We are materialists who believe that culture is defined materially by the material realities of the people. You cannot create that or prescribe that on an ideological level. So we're not interested in that. We're not interested in participating in the culture war. We're not interested in accelerating it. We are interested in waging the class struggle first and foremost. Now, through the course of the building of a workers' movement, of a workers' politics, and a workers' led class struggle, probably there will be an organic proletarian culture that arises from that. We're not interested in putting the cart before the horse. We're Marxists, we're materialists, we're not interested in culture war gibber.
By appearing on crackpot podcasts like Morbid Symptoms and spreading fallacious propaganda such as this.
Actually, like the real pushing of gender ideology can actually be homophobic, because if you have kids who tend to be more feminine or whatever, you're telling them, because you fit in with the stereotypes of the opposite sex, you actually are the opposite sex on the inside, and you need to change your body surgically to become the opposite sex. Like, no, a male can just be an effeminate male. Why does there need to be surgical intervention? That's how I feel.
How are you not contributing to inflaming the culture wars? Dennis, you are a menace. What other wacky escapades will he be in next? Tune in next time for the zany hijinks of Dennis the Duginist Menace.